Hey guys, and welcome back to another Satisfactory video that will be covering the new power changes video that we received yesterday from Coffee Stain about update 4. The first thing that I want to look at is the power switch, which allows us to partition two sections of the factory's power network within a factory, and more importantly, at this point, the frames of the video before and after the switch is flipped. So looking into it, here we have a view of when the second section of the factory is turned off. Here we can see for this section of the factory, no power is being consumed or produced, and also that we have no power being stored in the capacity section. However, we do know what the max consumption of this section of the factory requires even when it's switched off. Now this is important because if we look at circuit A, we can see that it's currently producing 500 megawatts of power and its max consumption is 169.3 megawatts. When the flip is switched, this power production and also the capacity, which you can actually see is a further 500 megawatts from this power storage, will be spread among the two networks. So we can work out the max consumption of the factory by adding up both the max consumptions of circuit A and circuit B, which gives us a max capacity of 444.2 megawatts. Knowing this is less than 500 megawatts, we can flip the switch and run both circuits as Jace shows off here. At this point, we can see that both circuits share the same graphs, and this is because they are now running as a single circuit. Also note the max consumption is now 444.2 megawatts, so like mentioned above, the two circuits aren't counted together when turned off. Now it would be really nice when it's turned off to actually have the max consumption of both networks calculated in brackets next to the current max consumption, but hey ho, nothing wrong with having to do a bit of maths. This next section is going to be talking about the power storage, which allows us to store and use energy like a battery for our factory for any spikes or unforeseen additions. Moving into this shot, we can see that this switch is specific for the power supply if we look at this frame here. However, it looks exactly the same, and I thought it was originally just the switch. And this shot particularly confused me as the power storage is being charged, and once the flip is switched off, the battery is in use. So what I presume is happening is not that we're turning the battery on, but rather that we're turning the power off to the circuit, and the battery automatically kicks in to fill in the drop in energy from the factory. But the big change that's coming, which really makes the switch and power storage important for us, is the change to power stations, with the exception of biomass generators and the geothermal generators. All stations will now provide the max that they are able to produce, so storing excess energy will be super important. This actually raises the two quite big questions. The first question of whether the plants can be underclocked so that we do not need to overproduce energy, and also the second question, if we do not have power storage available, will that excess power be lost within the grid? Now I'm certainly excited to hear more about this, especially with the changes to the geothermal generators, which will now produce energy dynamically, similar I guess to how a wind turbine would produce more energy when it's very windy versus low energy when it's calm. At this point, power storage becomes super important as it will allow us to create a buffer for the excess energy when the geothermal generator is suffering a low dip of power, and this will average out the power produced over time, and thus the power consumed.
The one thing that I forgot to talk about...
Oh, of course! The priority power switch that you mentioned.
We do have kind of release dates for update 4. We think we're going to get it out on March 9th or March 16th. Those are our guesses.
But guys, that was all of the interesting notes that I took from this video. So please do let me know what you're most interested for. And obviously, if you did enjoy this breakdown, be sure to hit the thumbs up and subscribe if you enjoy my content. and want to keep up to date with Satisfactory news. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching, and thanks to all of our amazing supporters, most notably our Solar Eclipse Patreons, The Calamity, Bo Papa, Treble, Cerebral Tag and JP Zone TV, as well as our Lunar Eclipse Patreons, Matt Lippard, The Lord of July and Chris McCabe, and our Blood Moon of the day, Jonah Dent. Anyway guys, until next time, as always, ciao for now.